One of the questions I get all the time in my grinding courses or in my grinding boot camps is regarding up grinding versus down grinding. And people have heard all types of crazy things where they met some guy and that guy said they switched from up grinding to down grinding and their burn disappeared and their wheel wear was cut in half and all kind of crazy old wives' tales. So let's correct some misconceptions. So what we have here would be up grinding, and here we have down grinding or climb grinding. And anybody who's ever studied this, and there have been some studies about this, have found that in terms of grinding, there's really not much of a difference. In up grinding, down grinding, climb grinding, up grinding may give you a few percent higher grinding forces and more heat generation, or slightly higher temperatures, if that, or maybe no difference at all. Down grinding may give you slightly lower forces and slightly less heat generation, lower temperatures, or no difference at all. Up grinding may give you a slightly better surface finish. Down grinding may give you a slightly rougher surface finish, but pretty much the difference is minimal. So I tell my customers, for the most part, unless there's some other issues like fixturing or something else, which can be important, but in terms of performance, the differences are so minor that you really just don't need to worry about it. The one exception is cooling. If you're doing up grinding, hopefully you've got your coolant coming in from this side. And if you're doing down grinding, hopefully you've got your coolant coming in from that side. And if it's creep feed grinding, and if it's creep feed grinding with something like a slot or a flute, you do have the issue of coolant delivery. So let's take a look at that. So let's say we've got our wheel, have our workpiece, and then we have our coolant. Now, if we're going to do down grinding, our coolant is going to be over here, our wheel is spinning in this direction, and any coolant that doesn't get into the hot spot, into the grinding zone, which is going to be 99.9% of the coolant, is just going to kind of wash over to the sides and not cause any problem. But if we're doing up grinding, now my wheel is coming in this direction and my coolant is being applied over here. Now I've got an issue, because if I'm doing flute grinding, I have what I call the cave effect or the backwash effect, where any coolant that doesn't get into the grinding zone, which is going to be 99.9% of the coolant, can't go over to the sides because we've got this little cave here. So it's going to get stuck in the cave, it's going to get ejected back, and we're going to have the backwash effect, and we're going to have trouble getting coolant into the hot spot. So in this particular situation, cooling for up grinding can be more of a hassle than cooling for down grinding, and that is one situation where you should go with down grinding over up grinding if you have that possibility. But the vast majority of other situations, there's just not that big of a difference, if any, and don't worry about it unless it's an issue of fixturing or position of the coolant nozzle or something else. But in terms of grinding performance, there really isn't any significant difference.